You should definitely buy Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Oh, hi! I didn't see you there. Wait, you want to know why you should buy Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Well, I didn't really plan for all that crap, so I guess we're winging it! Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has a deeply complex combat system which is often referred to as an auto-attack system. However, that really can only just describe the beginning of combat, as advancing far enough in the game will have you mashing buttons as much as you do in a beat-em-up style game to pull off massive combos using well-paced and well-timed arts, using your interlinked forms, or even using turn-based style chain attacks. These are further backed up by doing things like cooking, crafting gems, equipping items, and more to create the ultimate team. Boom, 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 boom. The combat in this game is the culmination of years of hard work at Monolith Soft to essentially combine and just about perfect what came in each Xenoblade iteration before it. While it all seems overwhelming at first, the tutorials in this game are very helpful, unlike a previous entry, and you're learning new things all throughout the game. The combat system is even further backed up by the class system. In previous Xenoblade games, the classes that consisted of attackers, defenders, and healers were set to specific characters, and while this is the case in the early game of Xenoblade 3, you can later swap characters' classes and even their outfits to create a more diverse way of playing. Each class has their role on the battlefield as you'd expect, with newly added mechanics such as rings that grant certain buffs to the player. And for the first time, we have 6 total swappable characters on screen at once, with the additional NPC hero if one is equipped. Of course, because of this, when there's a lot happening on the screen, there were a couple of times where the frame rate pretty much tanked, or the game froze for a few seconds, but that's the worst I experienced with this game. Regardless, each of the characters that you can play as or alongside of has a story that is explored in a surprising amount of depth. Each one struggles with issues that the player might find themselves struggling with, which makes them extremely relatable. The side quests in Xenoblade 3 help break up the gameplay so you're not forced to focus on one certain objective for the entire time. However, these side quests, especially the hero quests, do a lot to add not only more weight to the characters themselves, but also to the main story. Speaking of the story, the writing is by far the best part about this game, or really any Xenoblade game for that matter. It's almost worth playing the game just for the story, even if you haven't played Xenoblade 1 or 2, as this story stands very well on its own. However, you'd be doing yourself a massive favor by playing Xenoblade 1 and 2 before this, as there will be references and even major plot points that you won't even know you missed that add far more weight to the story if you understand them. On top of the main stories in Xenoblade 1 and 2, there's also DLC for each of those games that connect to the main story, so if you want to know what order to play these games in, check out my video linked at the end of this one. As with many other games for me, the drive for wanting to play Xenoblade 3 came from wanting to see how the story unfolded, as this is a major way in which Xenoblade 3 rewards you for progressing. Even coming from someone who has played all of the Xenoblade games except X, there were still unpredictable elements to the story, which really says something about why this writing is the best thing about this game. The writing? Oh, sorry, that's a typo. That's supposed to say the music. The music is the best thing about this game. Don't get me started on the music. As with every entry in the Xenoblade franchise, the music in Xenoblade 3 cannot be understated. Similar to how watching something like Star Wars, for example, without any music, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 would be way less impactful without it, both in the visually breathtaking environments during gameplay, as well as in the very well delivered and choreographed cutscenes. You really can't have the story without the music, as they work hand in hand to deliver an experience that isn't matched by many games, though I do think the track The Weight of Life was criminally underutilized. Regardless, this game is an easy poggers.